Dawn, get your mic when you're done. Welcome, everyone. I'm going to call the October 21st, 2025 regular scheduled board meeting to order. I've asked Commissioner Perkins to lead us in the prayer, and then Commissioner Mobley is going to lead us in the pledge. So if y'all would, please stand.
Let us pray. God, our Father in heaven, we come before your presence once again, dear God. Just a few of your people, dear God, assembled in this room. God, to tell you thank you for all you've done, all you're doing right now. We're so grateful, God, and thankful for living in this great nation, dear God, known as the United States. We thank you, God, for the freedom you've given us, the peace you've given us, and the joy. We ask, oh God, you look upon us one by one and name by name. Look on this board, dear God. Look on our chairman, God. Pray, oh God, give him the strength and the wisdom and knowledge, dear God, to lead this board. Ask, God, you look upon every one of our district commissioners, dear God, and that you bless them, oh God. Look on all our constituents, God, that you look on them in a mighty way. Bless their home, their families. And God, we ask you to look upon, dear God, our administrator, and God, look on, dear God, our attorney. Look on all departments, God, that you bless them. We're so grateful, God, to have this beautiful city of Suwannee County, dear God. We thank you for the peace you've given us, dear God, and the cohesiveness that we work together. We thank you, God, for the love that you give us and the peace, oh God. Now, Lord, you ask you to bless, dear Heavenly Father, God, those in rule office, dear God, in the national, dear God. Look on our president, God. Look on, dear God, all those, dear God. Bring their minds together, dear God, for the common good of the people. God, you have mercy upon them, God. Remember all of our ones, dear God, we have on foreign soil, dear God, that's fighting for our freedom. Protect and keep them, Heavenly Father, God. Bring them home safely. And God, we pray for the peace of Israel and all, dear God, all your people. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Perkins, Commissioner Mobley, for that. We'll jump right in and get started. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes, and we have one there, which is the October 7th, 2025 regular scheduled board meeting. Any questions, comments, corrections, omissions, errors, or do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve by Commissioner White.
Thank you, sir.
Second by, who was that? Second by Commissioner Perkins. All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. The next item on the agenda is public concerns and comments, and I'm gonna, before we get started there, I'm just gonna make a comment. Over the last few weeks, I've heard from multiple folks that are watching these YouTube videos online, and honestly, really calling me out on not enforcing the time clock on the public concerns and comments. So I think that's a poor reflection on myself of not enforcing the rules that I ask others that work for the county to enforce. So starting tonight, I'm going to do a better job of that. So you have 3 minutes. The clerk keeps up with that. So under public concerns and comments, as normal, we're going to follow the rules. I'm just going to do a better job of enforcing those. So 3 minutes for individuals, 7 minutes for if you represent a group. So the next item on the agenda is public concerns and comments. I do have several cards. The first one, and these are in no order, Miss Wendy S. Martin, Miss Martin, of 15850 141st Road, McAlpin.
Greetings. How you doing tonight? Some of the federal news here lately hasn't been good. I don't appreciate the President of the United States doing memes, showing what he really thinks of the American people, that we are worthy of having sewage dumped on our heads for pursuing our rights and our duty under the Declaration of Independence to protect those rights and to protest against what we perceive to be acts of despotism or tyranny among our leaders. I am not pro-Hamas. I am not an anti-Semite. I am not Islamophobic, which is another form of anti-Semitism. I'm an American citizen. I'm a registered voter. And I don't appreciate our elected representatives who need to get their asses back to Washington, do their job, or we need to vote them the hell out of office. Get them out now. There's an election coming up, and it's not just this one. It'll be the election in 2028, because not everybody that is trying to screw over America right now is up for election in the 2026 election. Part of my distress with this, in the Declaration of Independence, paragraphs 2, 3, and 4 state that we who live in a democratic republic, when we perceive despotism or what we perceive to be trains of abuses leading to it, it is our right and our duty to stand up and defend our rights. That such a government does not have a right to be in play. In paragraph 18, bullet 6, he has abolished our most valuable laws and also fundamentally the forms of our government. He's been shipping people off to other parts of the world, depriving them of the right for due process and the right to be tried in the country and in the county where they have been allegedly committed their wrongdoing. This is in the Declaration of Independence. I'm breaking it down by paragraph because I don't know how otherwise to number it. In this particular book put out by the Constitutional Center in Philadelphia. He's affected to render the military independent and superior to the civil power, and he's keeping military in areas where people really don't want him, and the governors and the legislatures of those states have said they don't need him there. Paragraph 23. A prince whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant is unfit to be the ruler of a free people. And Donald Trump has shown us what he thinks about free people. He's doing a meme with him flying over and dumping crap all over Americans that are doing what their God-given right under the First Amendment and under this Declaration of Independence have given us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Martin. Next comment card I have is Mr. Keith Broders of 9070 Pine Mountain Road, Lake City. Welcome, sir.
You know, as parents are responsible for the behavior of their children, and if you have children that are out of control, you can usually figure out that somehow or another the parents are the ones that are responsible for that. And I think when it comes to our Congress, that's the problem. We have a bunch of disobedient children in Washington, D.C., and we are essentially the parents, and we are remiss, and we are responsible for their inability to follow their oath of office. And I think it's about time that we take responsibility. But the problem is most of us in America today are completely ignorant. We go to the sports page and we read and find out who's hitting home runs and how many yards the quarterback is throwing for, but we don't have a darn idea how our congressmen are voting. When's the last time you went to a website and tried to find out how your congressional representatives are voting? We need to take responsibility. We need to realize that we are the enemy. We the people, and frankly, it's due to our collective ignorance and apathy and irresponsibility. Most of us seem to think that we basically have these God-given rights, but you know, we also have God-given responsibilities. And one of the responsibilities is to educate ourselves and our children and our grandchildren on the principles of liberty and individual responsibility. I think that I have created a website designed to try to help you and everyone else to educate themselves on the principles of liberty and individual responsibility. The website is called libertytreeonline.us. Please go there. You'll find tremendous resources that will help you to be able to educate your loved ones so that you do not have to be part of the problem. If you sit back and just assume that the Congress, we can trust them, obviously they spend trillions of dollars more than they bring in taxes. That's irresponsibility. If you did that, you'd be going to jail. But they just go ahead and continue to violate their oath of office, and we sit back and allow them to do it. If children misbehave, you've got to discipline them. You've got to send them in, put them in the corner. We've got to do something, and I think the lady that spoke before me, she's absolutely right. We have to take responsibility and basically get rid of these elected officials that are not doing the job. They don't represent us. They represent the billionaire corporations and Wall Street bankers. They don't represent us. So we need to take responsibility and realize that the enemy is the person we see in the mirror in the morning when we wake up. We are the problem. So please visit my website, libertytreeonline.us. Go there and help me to educate this community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Broders. Next comment card I have is Mr. Charles Dees of 11442 111th Drive, Live Oak. That's all the ones I got. Welcome, sir.
Afternoon or evening. As the two of you know, I understand we have a no leash law. I have in my neighborhood 5 dogs that are running around killing, 3 of them's killing chickens and going after the elderly. The 2 representatives I talked to, they explained to me there's nothing we can do about the no leash law. What about more penalty for the irresponsible owner of the pets? Can we go about that? And also, where's the extra 15 cents going on gases that we're higher than Lake City and Hamilton County? It's gas taxes, right? I was told it was supposed to be going towards the roads. $2.50 or $49. I feel sorry for whoever's on 2 wheels, because it will bounce you off. And that's all I got. My concern is that no leash law, especially after the elderly, the dogs are trying to, in my neighborhood, are running my elderly neighbors, trying to run them off their property. The animal control, they're understaffed. Why? We had one retire just this year. Why can't we replace her with better training or more training? Give them more authority to do what they need to do to protect livestock and people.
Yes, sir.
That's all I've got. My concerns are.
Yes, sir. I think we can ask the county attorney on, as far as, I don't know what Florida statute says about that versus our county ordinance or something with more teeth like you talked about. I mean, I understand what you're saying. I'm not saying that's a bad idea. I think that's a good idea. I just don't know legally what trumps what.
Well, see, I have a dog myself. He
Yes, sir.
stays in his area.
Yes, sir.
He doesn't get out. If he does, I go chase him down. But he don't go out. He's not vicious.
No, I understand.
Matter of fact, two of y'all's met him and seen him.
Mm-hmm. You should have the ability to enjoy your own property without someone else's animal intruding on
Or the
that.
ability to walk down the road
Correct.
without a pack of dogs coming after me.
I totally agree. Yes, sir. So have you spoke to animal control or the sheriff's office about
Yes, sir,
this?
I have, and the 2 young ladies that are working animal control are doing the absolute best they can. It is the owner who keeps lying to the sheriff's department and them by saying, oh, no, they're not his dogs, and my time is up.
We'll pick this up after the meeting. So I appreciate you coming and voicing your concerns on that.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Perkins?
we went out there and viewed those dogs. They are dogs that I left his house talking with him. I went by the house, and he's right. Those dogs are in the yard. They're not tied. They're not retained no kind of way, and they at liberty to leave whenever they want to. But what do we do? I told them by whatever means to handle the situation. But the sheriff department has a trap out there that he's renting, but he's putting sardines in there, and dogs not attracted to sardines, so they won't go in the trap. So
I think that maybe after the meeting we can get with the sheriff's office or animal control or something and see if there's another avenue to take. But I mean, I think that as long as they're on, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but the animals apparently need to be caught off the property doing harm or some other stuff. I don't know if that's already
dogs too.
Yeah. So I think his comments duly noted, and I'm sure that we can find some type of remedy for you after the meeting. Well, there you go. Yes, sir. I mean, if my life feels threatened on my property with somebody else's animal, I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Is anybody else from the public wishing to speak? Yes, ma'am. And Miss, don't. She's coming now, but Miss Pat after her.
Good evening.
Yes, ma'am. Welcome. Name and address for the record.
Gigi Simmons Gwen, 17233 99th Drive, McAlpin, Florida, 32062.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I stand here today, Your Honorable Commissioners, to speak to you about a man whose life and service left a lasting mark on this county, my husband, Mr. Donnell Gwen. Mr. Gwen was a man of integrity, faith, and dedication. His life's work centered on serving others, strengthening our communities, and creating opportunities for those who needed a helping hand, whether through mentoring young people, volunteering his time, or lending his voice to important community causes. Donnell consistently put the needs of others above his own. He embodied the spirit of service that makes Suwannee County strong. Mr. Gwen's leadership and compassion did not go unnoticed. In recognition of his remarkable contributions, the Honorable Kat Cammack, member of the United States House of Representatives, took meaningful steps to ensure that his legacy was honored on a national level. At her request, the United States flag was flown over the U.S. Capitol in tribute to Mr. Gwen's life and service. In addition, an official statement honoring him was read on the floor of the U.S. House of Representatives, forever recording his name and contributions in the congressional record of our nation. These gestures reflected the respect and admiration that extended well beyond our local community. This evening, I come before you with a formal request that the Suwannee County Commission issue an official proclamation honoring the life and legacy of Mr. Donnell Gwen. Such a proclamation will serve as a permanent and local acknowledgement of his devotion to public service, his commitment to others, and the positive influence he had across our country. It would also serve as a reminder of future generations that true leadership begins with service, compassion, and a desire to uplift our communities. By issuing this proclamation, Suwannee County would be joining in a broader recognition alongside the United States House of Representatives to honor one of its own. It would affirm that Mr. Gwen's contributions are not only remembered, but also celebrated as part of the fabric of this community he loved so deeply. On behalf of many individuals and families who were touched by his life and leadership, I respectfully urge this commission to consider and approve a county proclamation in honor of Mr. Donnell Gwen. Thank you for your time and your consideration. Thank you.
Ms. Gwen, before you sit down, I knew your husband personally. I think everybody up here knew him, and there wasn't a finer gentleman set foot in Suwannee County than Mr. Donnell. Just a good man,
Yes.
top to bottom. And I'm going to ask the board, we can't approve a proclamation tonight because we don't have one in front of us, but I'm going to ask the board now for consensus to allow the county attorney and staff, and they probably need your contact information to get some information as well, but I'm going to ask consensus from the board to allow our county attorney and staff to start working on a proclamation to present to us for approval. I got consensus?
Yes.
I got 5-0 consensus for us to start working on one of those.
Thank you.
So staff, one of y'all reach out to Ms. Gwen and get any of the other information that we need about Mr. Donnell to form that up.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for coming.
Good to see you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Moses Klepper, 14581 102nd Path, representing we the people of North Central Florida. We've been asking about whether or not a policy has been written to prevent exempt salaried employees from abusing the system to change overtime, and the chairman's eventual response was that there is no rule that requires commissioners to engage in conversation, end quote. And even though he is technically correct, we found that it is an ethical responsibility, and I quote, "Commissioners are elected to be a voice for the interest of their constituents and communities. Responding to constituents is considered a matter of ethical responsibility and good governance," end quote. So we know there has not been a policy written, and the commissioners allowing the elite exempt salaried employees, many making over $100,000 a year, to charge us overtime, which is not customary for exempt salary positions, we feel is a dereliction of duty. Since I was not allowed to comment on the flock cameras at the previous meeting, we want to say that flock cameras will likely be compared and equated to cell site location information, or CSLI, which has been taken to the Supreme Court, United States Supreme Court, and ruled that the use of CSLIs was a Fourth Amendment violation and a warrantless search, therefore unconstitutional. There are none in the room, or I may say in this county, that wants to see equal justice prevail more than we do. And we want to catch the bad guy as much as anyone. However, our founders and patriots did not give their lives and fortunes for us to surrender our freedom so easily or to be under thumb to anyone. To quote Benjamin Franklin again, "Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety." So even though it seems on the surface to be a security measure, it is in fact an infringement on our rights. Please research and read up on Carpenter versus USA. That's the case that was taken to the Supreme Court. There are, and the cell phone ping off of those towers is less invasive than what these flock cameras do, even if they're just doing tag following. So everything's explained in that case, Carpenter versus USA. There are at least 4 items on the consent agenda that would afford a citizen an additional 12 minutes at the podium to speak, 3 minutes each 4-minute item, their thoughts and concerns.
Mr. Clapper, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but do you have your representations to go to the 7 minutes for the group here?
Sure.
Okay. Can I ask them to raise their hand? Who's Mr. Clapper speaking? Mr. Weaver and Mr. Skursky. Okay.
And there's more, but again, I've mentioned it's private, and once I declare on that note, and I'll bring documentation for that too. Once it's declared that I am representing a group, they don't have to be here. Y'all may make a policy, but and you might want to do that just to infringe more on this thing. You're not going to work. But anyway, there are at least 4 items on the consent agenda that would afford a citizen an extra 12 minutes at the podium to speak their thoughts and concerns. However, since they're not in general business where they should be for the people to speak on them, I will speak to items 5, 8, 9, and 10. On item 5, the petitioner asking for the authority to increase fees up to 3% a year with only the only requirement being that he notify this board, not have to be approved or requested, is unacceptable. This employee has proven that his objective is to expand government and lacks concern for the average taxpayer, evidenced by him attempting to pass an ordinance to require all RV owners to build a fully enclosed building to house their RVs 6 months out of the year, and by his nepotism-based hiring practices. We cannot trust that this individual will responsibly implement those increases. We feel he will annually increase 3% across the board without exception. If y'all approve this item, especially without discussion and modification, once again, you will have failed us. 8 and 9, piggybacking a $400,000 contract, even if split into 2 contracts, is irresponsible. We pled with y'all to create an expansive vendors list and bid out these jobs. The re-roof on the Public Works building may be in the ballpark. We don't know. It has not been bid on by at least 3 qualified contractors. However, number 9 is ridiculous. Seriously, y'all want to piggyback with the contractor, O'Neill, and not even bid out for $334,000 on the courthouse dome. We wonder who's getting paid off here, or is it just complacency? The dome can be replaced with fiberglass or T6 aluminum dome, or disassembled and the old copper cleaned and the new pieces and the old pieces patinaed the same together to give a very similar, if not an exact look, especially from 60 feet away. Regardless, the $334,000 non-competitive quote fringes on a criminal act. When you consider that one can have a 2,000 square foot home roofed with copper for about $20 a square foot or $40,000, including materials and labor, we realize that a standard roof is not the same as a dome, but we're only talking about possibly 300 or 400 square foot, not 2,000 to 3,000 square feet at 8.5 times the cost. A sheet metal worker can do a lot of work for $300,000. On average, a sheet metal worker earns approximately $60,000 to $65,000 a year, and we want to know where that other $200,000 is going. And item 10, why are we leasing the Swedish-made Volvo trucks instead of USA-made Kenworths at $587,000 for a 5-year lease at 5% interest when we can purchase them outright for $520,000 for the saving of $13,000 a year or $67,000 over the 5 years? We can do service and maintenance on those trucks ourselves and own them outright the entire time instead of having to pay $587,000 plus the buyout cost at the end. Somebody please prove us wrong. Also, a side note, to make the road grading more efficient and effective, couldn't there be a gravity-fed water truck with a spray bar spray the road prior to the graders doing their thing during dry conditions?
Ms. Pat. Welcome, ma'am. Name and address for the record.
Okay, my name is Pat Hines. My address is 13158 116th Street in Live Oak, Florida. I am a local author and historian, and I wanted to share with you an event that'll be coming up in November, and wanted to let you know that my heritage began here in Suwannee County in the 1800s with my great-great-great-great-great-grandfather Christmas Hemming. And I've written a book about the Suwannee County history that has gone beyond the borders of the Suwannee County line. I've traveled over the state of Florida to requested speaking events about the history and have several scheduled for 2026. And several weeks ago, I received a historic marker from the Department of State about the history here in Suwannee County. And when I say history, I'm talking about our history here in Suwannee County. My marker is one of 1,200 markers in the state of Florida and is one of the most unique. It is on the historic registry. And for more history, there's a Buffalo soldier buried in my family cemetery out in Claywoods. And the Buffalo Soldiers Regiment of the state of Florida, Buffalo Soldiers Incorporated, will be attending a historic ribbon cutting event on my farm, which is Southern Heritage Historical Farm. And they will be presenting flags for that ceremony. And I'd like to take the opportunity to formally invite all of you and the Board of County Commissioners to a historic ribbon cutting event. And I have flyers that I'd like to pass out to the county commissioners. But
what's the date? Can we say the date and the time on the record?
The date of the event is November 22nd at 10 a.m. on a Saturday.
and I believe you have coordinated with Parks and Rec. Mr. Rosner.
I got you. Yes, ma'am. We'll pass them down for you. Thank you.
So November the 22nd at 10 a.m.
10 a.m., yes.
Do you have a, do you want to give a street address on the public record, or how do you want to do that?
The same street address, 13158.
13158 116th Street.
Yes, sir.
November the 22nd at 10 a.m. We'll do a ribbon cutting for that historical marker.
Yes, yes.
That's pretty cool.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pat. Is there anybody else from the public wishing to speak? Seeing none, I will close public comment. The next item on the agenda is proclamations and presentations. I have informed Powell and Jones that we're going to move them down to general business. They're item number 3. But prior to them, we have a presentation of a proclamation proclaiming October 23rd through the 31st of 2025 as that's a tongue twister, Red Ribbon Week. Mr. Bo and Michael. Gotcha. Yes, welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Board. My name is Bo Boachman. B. Coker in the back. She's going to be passing out this information to you. Or Michael, you go do it for me. And this is Michael. Pass out one each to the 5.
Thank y'all for coming.
Thank you for being here. Starting right here.
Thank you very much.
You want me to read the proclamation for you?
Oh, if you'd like, I don't mind doing it.
Yeah, that's up to you. If you prefer to do it, it doesn't matter.
I'll do it. Well,
Yes,
I wanted you to take a look at what's being passed out. This is a copy of the proclamation, and then attached also you see a copy of our schedule
Thank you,
for
sir.
our actual Red Ribbon Week activities that we're going to be doing down at White Springs at the boat ramp. I don't know if y'all are familiar with the Wayside Park there at White Springs. It's on Highway 41, just south of the town. And you see the mural. This is the mural that we're attempting to put on that wall. That wall is approximately 250 feet long, and we're going to start actually cleaning the wall tomorrow, and we're going to paint that mural on the wall, and it's all for Red Ribbon Week beginning October 23rd to the 31st, which is a national proclaimed week of drug prevention. So on behalf of the Our Community Cares Coalition, on behalf of us standing here, I'd like to, it's my pleasure to read the proclamation and for the board to consider approval.
This is the mural? Which
Oh,
one's
you
me?
saw that, huh?
That represents Suwannee County.
That's Suwannee
I
County
like it.
government. And what we're doing is we're doing caricatures of all.
Yeah.
I need to go on a diet. Hey, Don,
Can you tell who's who? That's the
You
main
put the
thing.
bald-headed guy with the reflective head up front for a beacon of light there. That's
pretty good.
We don't get ran into.
Blame her right here. She's the
I,
one
love,
who did it.
I like it.
We're going to do that for all government entities and put you in a canoe on that wall.
I'm sure you just gave some of our critics some ammo, but go ahead.
I guess so. If you'd like, I'll go ahead and read it.
Yeah, yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Declaring October 23rd to 31st, 2025 as Red Ribbon Week. Whereas alcohol and drug abuse in this nation has reached epidemic stages, and whereas visible unified prevention education efforts by community members must be launched to reduce the demand for drugs, and whereas the National Family Partnership, the Florida Department of Education, and other organizations nationwide are sponsoring the National Red Ribbon Campaign, offering citizens an opportunity to demonstrate their commitment to drug-free lifestyles. No use of illegal drugs and no legal use of legal drugs. And whereas the National Red Ribbon Campaign will be celebrated in communities across the nation during Red Ribbon Week, October 23 through the 31st. And whereas business, government, parents, law enforcement, media, medical institutions, religious institutions, schools, senior citizens service drug-free lifestyles by wearing and displaying red ribbons during this week-long campaign. And whereas the community of Suwannee County Board of County Commissioners, Florida, further commits its resources to ensure the success of the Red Ribbon Campaign. Now therefore, as Mayor of Suwannee County Board of County Commissioners, Florida, I do hereby proclaim October 23rd through 31st, 2025 as Red Ribbon Week, and encourage all citizens to participate in drug prevention education activities, making a visible statement that we are strongly committed to a drug-free community. In witness thereof, I have here the 2 my hand that calls the seal of the Suwannee County Board of County Commissioners, Florida, to be affixed this day, signed by the chair. I've assumed.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Bowe.
Yes, sir. My pleasure.
Any questions for him? Any comments, or do I have a motion to approve this proclamation?
So moved.
Have a motion by Commissioner Perkins, a second by Commissioner Mobley. All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to invite you and everyone else out to come out to the Wayside Park on October 23rd, particularly on Saturday, October 25th. We're planning on having a canoe race if the water's high enough with all of our kids that we're sponsoring. So come on out, and we're going to have some good food there. So I hope to see you all there.
Yes, sir. Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
very
coming.
much.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all. Thank y'all.
Do we get to vote on the picture?
No.
You go ahead and vote.
We know who's you, that's for sure.
Thank you, guys.
Great.
All right, let me go back here.
Did you already write names on it?
So the next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. I have items 5 and 9 being pulled for clarification. So that leaves items 4, 6, 7, 8, and 10. Questions, comments, concerns, or do I have a motion to approve those items?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
A motion by Commissioner Hale, second by Commissioner Perkins. All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. 5-0 on those. Item number 5 is adoption of resolution authorizing amending permit fees for building, zoning, and related permits, and authorizing the head of the building department to raise fees up to 3% per year with notice to the Board of County Commissioners. Is Mac or Meeks, one of you guys here? Mr. Meeks, my only concern with this one is the 3% per year with notice. I think, is there a way that we can amend that to
Doesn't bother me. We
make it a-
can eliminate that language, and we can just evaluate it on an annual basis and bring it to the board. Doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, my only concern is I don't want the economy to go through some lean years. Not that they're not lean right now, but some very lean years, and that inflation be significantly lower than that, but yet we're raising it 3%. So I would like that.
It's not an automatic raise of a 3%. We would have the ability with notice, but if we just want to eliminate that,
What I would like,
Yeah.
and I'm just one guy, what I would like to see is it be an agenda item saying, hey, authorization to increase, building department rates by 1% or 3% or 0.5%, whatever, year to year, based on what's going on in the economy in the world. I know that you're saying you have up to 3, but as an elected official, I feel like I need a little bit of oversight over that versus just totally handing that off. Not that you're not capable of doing it, but just so that the board has the authority to say, yeah, I agree. You're good.
That's fine. What we would like to do is evaluate it when we go into the budget process, because we'll know where we're at financially and kind of what things look like, so that we would like those fees to occur with the adoption of our new budget cycle.
I think that's a fantastic idea, because you know what your costs are going to look like year to year during the budget process. So you can say, hey, labor or vehicles or fuel or whatever is up 10% over last year. We're proposing a 3% increase. Or, hey, labor is up, but fuel and everything else is down. We're only proposing a 1% increase on fees this year. I would like it to be an annual conversation, not just a decision that staff makes. I mean, no disrespect whatsoever, but that was kind of I pulled that. That was I won't call it a riff, but that was my concern.
Mr. Chairman.
But I'm just one of 5.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, if I could recommend, as to how to pass it, then it would be passing it and omitting, just cut paragraph 2 entirely, so we don't need any authorization to raise.
Let me get to paragraph 2. I was looking at the agenda.
So it would be motion to adopt, striking paragraph 2 and renumbering paragraph 3.
Okay. You want to state that motion?
Yeah, a motion to approve the resolution as published in the agenda, subject to the striking of paragraph 2 of the whereas clause and renumbering paragraph 3 as paragraph 2.
Do I have a motion to approve as stated by the county attorney?
So moved.
Have a motion by Commissioner Perkins. Second by Commissioner Mobley. All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Meeks. Item number 9, authorize replacement of courthouse copper roof at Clock Tower through the Suwannee County School Board's piggyback contract with O'Neill Roofing Company in the amount of $334,518.83. It is a budgeted item. I think Commissioner Perkins has a question on that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mark,
Yes, sir.
explain to me or to make it clear to me with the piggyback system versus going in and we do a alpha bid and do bids with other contractors. Now, me being a contractor as well, this seems like it would be a easy win for the roofing contractor by being awarded a job at the school, and then now that receiving this bid here by being piggyback, it doesn't go off a bid. So help me understand that, the process, and how that's going to be favorable to us.
Okay. The piggyback contract, first of all, this one was renewed back in 2022, and it is line item, is what it is. So like if you had to put fascia board up to 6 inches wide, this much per linear foot. So you understand doing a quote on projects that scopes of work and labor can be combined. And that's basically what they did. It's how many pages is this, Mr. Adam?
Significant
It's
number.
significant. So every scope of work under a construction or roofing contract has been taken into account in this. So what they do is they break the project down. They say, this is what we've got to do, and it's going to take this component, this component, this component, and every one of those components are already pre-bid on how much they were per unit. Does that make sense to you?
So what you're telling me is that each line item, and you have combined the two bids together, and by you figuring linear footage of the eave drip or drip edge, fascia, and all that you're saying. So that's with the school board project and the project here to get a better price.
It has traditionally benefited the county on numerous occasions, just because what they did is each scope of work, whether it's a linear foot or it's by the square foot, you can do concrete work. Yeah, I know you're familiar with concrete work. So if I'm going to do concrete work and I'm going to do 40 square feet, 40 square foot at this amount per square foot, and it was bid out that way. It's not just square foot, linear foot. That's inclusive. That's installed price. That's the labor it takes to do that, the labor it takes to install whatever it is, and it was taken and put out for bid, and it was done competitively. So we have met the competitive bid requirement of procurement by doing this, and we're just using a school board contract. They use it continually. It's basically an open-ended construction contract. Isn't that about the easiest way to say it, Mr. Morrison?
Yeah, so essentially, I think to answer the heart of your question, Commissioner, is under our policy, it can be either or. So if the board wants to go out to bid, I want to be very clear about this, the board can direct staff to go out to bid on a project. So this is simply a way of moving faster where there's a set competitively bid contract with any government vendor or any government entity. So for example, what the school board would have had to do is they would have had to put out a competitive bid for an open-ended construction contract which lists every type of service they do in a way that can be broken down. And through that process, O'Neill Roofing won that competitive bid. So under both Florida law and our purchasing policies, we're allowed to, again, hence the word piggyback on that other government entity's contract. And we can do that not just for construction, but anything. And the purpose of it is to save time and money. And so here, staff has made the recommendation to use the piggyback process. But to be clear, there's no set if the board says go out to bid, then we'll go out to bid. It's just that simple. But this is just a way of trying to move it forward under that contract and that fee.
I understand the process, but here I'm looking at is that to make sure that we are getting a competitive price and not leaving out other contractors who also service our area. I know O'Neill does a great job. They've been around for a long time. They've been doing buildings for a long time. I understand that. But there's other contractors that feel being left out that they have an opportunity to bid. I know when you're doing that, you're characterizing everything and putting it in a category, and you're going out to bid, and O'Neill is winning the bid there. But I just want to make sure we're not leaving other contractors out.
Well, the only thing I can tell you, Commissioner Perkins, is it was competitively bid in the local market, and they all had the opportunity at the time that it was bid out to compete. Does that answer your question?
Sure.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Hale.
Please remind me, because I know I'm the one that kind of beat this up in the budget workshops. What did we budget?
Well, I believe we ended up budgeted, because I asked you for the 334,000,
Right.
and you gave me 300,000. But I also have been able to, on another contract, been able to cut that price down to make up the difference. And that way it can be budgeted, and that's the only way that I could budget it. I don't know why you didn't give me all I asked for, other than you said I could get it done cheaper, but I can only do it for what they come in at.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Perkins.
So the materials being bid there are copper.
Yes, sir.
Do they give a life expectancy?
The last one was 100 years. That's all I can tell you, Mr. Perkins. I mean, I don't mean to be facetious. I don't know what the life expectancy of the copper would be. I would assume 50 plus.
A thickness or a grade?
I do not recall the grade. I can get that information for you and get that. Last I recall, when I spoke with O'Neill, they were using a heavy grade copper on this, not standard flashing grade. It's not a flashing grade. It is a much heavier copper.
I think in here it said 20 ounce copper.
I'm not looking at it, so.
Mr. Durham, refresh my memory. Have we or are we applying for some assistance because that was damaged by the hurricane?
Insurance-wise, the deductible was so high that it's going to be fractional on the entire repairs of the courthouse. However, this is a FEMA project, and we very well look to be fully reimbursed from FEMA on it. That's, wishful thinking, but
yes. I know the damage. I mean, yeah, it was old, but the damage was caused by the hurricane.
It was caused by the hurricane, and this is a Helene FEMA claim. Yes,
yes, sir. I thought I remembered that, but I wanted to refresh my memory.
So that deductible is not a normal deductible, but that's the storm deductible they give us?
Yes, sir.
I know it's high then.
The storm deductibles, when it was a named storm, went to, I believe this structure is at 5% of the insured structure's value. And if I am correct, it's $320,000 deductible on that structure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Mr. Durham?
Did you, one more?
Yes, sir, Commissioner Hale, sure.
And I think you were answering Commissioner Perkins' question, but it did go out for bid. And I know the scope of this work is not something someone here does every day.
The piggyback contract itself is already been bid. It has been bid in the past,
Gotcha.
Yes. And it's actually even been bid in our local market, not just statewide. It was bid here.
Commissioner Mobley.
How many bids did come in on that?
On when it was piggybacked back in 2022, there were 2 vendors that actually bid on the overall scope of that project.
And this was the lowest bid?
And that was the lowest bid, yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Perkins.
Just a sidebar.
Sure.
How things coming with the windows?
The windows are in production right
Still
now.
production.
So that project is moving, but they're in production, yes, sir.
When they get them out, when they'll be complete
I look for some windows to start going in probably about the first of the year is what I'm looking at right now.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Durham? And do I have a motion or any other questions in regards to the agenda item?
Go ahead, sir.
Commissioner White?
I was just going to refer back to Mr. Perkins of what he was thinking. Did you want it to go out to bid, or?
Well, if he's already carried the bid, Commissioner White, I want to make sure they have an opportunity. He said he already had 2 bids that went out, and 2 companies that did bid on it. So,
Yes, sir.
That was in 22.
It was in 22 when that happened on the piggyback. I think, to tell
so
you the
that
truth.
price they're giving us now, that's from 22 that O'Neill's giving us?
Yes, sir. And it's honored. It's honored until the contract is terminated.
I'm fine with it.
Came through in 2024.
Is it 24?
The dome was 2024.
That is correct. The damage was in 24, but the contract was renewed in 22.
I don't know.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah,
Okay.
as
Okay.
much as I would like to see it rebid, I mean, I just don't want to, and we've talked about this, I didn't mean to start speaking. I just don't want to mess up, if it's been bid, then I don't want to mess up with the integrity of a bid process, you know? But if we could get it cheaper, that would be great.
Well, I do know this, and speaking with O'Neill, there is contingency that they have in there because they don't know. There may be some unforeseens, and they're great about this, and they've been in the past. If they do not need it, there will be a return on those contingencies written on the backside of this. Now, if you want that in writing, I'll get that in writing from O'Neill Roofing, but that is the premise behind the whole thing. You know, in a roofing project, you can't say, I'm going to do a roof and I'm going to do it for this, because we don't know what's under there. And so they allowed a percentage, and I look for that percentage to come back because I have looked at the understructure. The understructure looks sound, and I've actually had that verification by an architect.
Mr. Durham, I'm going to summarize this a little bit for you, and tell me if I'm wrong.
Sure.
This bid is a master bid, basically, for roofing services for the
Roofing
school board.
construction, yes.
Right, I think I know what I'm talking about, but you tell me if I don't.
Sure.
This was a master bid from 2022 that the school board put out, right? And it
Yes.
bids shingles, sheet of tin, labor, like it's a bid per item.
Itemized out.
That's right. That they're standing by today, albeit damage was done in 2024, but this, and then they add in the copper roof or anything extra, but they're honoring the pricing that was bid from 2022. So we didn't put this out to bid in 2022. This is a bid that they were submitted for roofing services that was the low bidder for Suwannee County School Board in 2022 that they're still honoring today
That is
for most of these roofing needs.
All of those roofing needs are encompassed in one of those facets. Or
Correct.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just
sir.
clarifying
You
for the
are
public.
correct.
Okay. So did y'all understand that? I think most of y'all did.
Yes.
I think all y'all did. Any more questions, comments, concerns, or advice or direction to go here? Or a motion to approve?
If we make the motion to approve, or there is a motion, I would just ask that would be in writing, just if there's anything to be returned or not
If
used,
there's
whatever.
I will speak with them in the morning, and I will make sure that we have that in our packet. Is that good?
Yes.
Mr. Morrison?
Yes, sir.
I believe it's, Mr. Chairman, I believe it's written in the contract, $16,500.
It is.
So I think it's covered.
Okay, 16.5. Commissioner Mobley.
I'd like to see it going back out for bids if we could.
Okay. Board, what do y'all want to do? Do I have a motion to approve the item, or do I have a motion and a second to deny and rebid? I got Mobley's
I have a
preferred.
motion to deny it and go back out for bid.
I got Commissioner Mobley with a motion to deny it and go back to rebid.
Yes.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
I got a second by Commissioner White. All in favor, aye. Aye.
I'll say aye.
All opposed, same sign. Going out to bid.
Okay.
That was consent. So next item up on the agenda is constitutional officer items. Any constitutionals present wishing to speak? Seeing none, we will go to staff. Any staff members present wishing to speak? I got a couple coming, it looks like. welcome Mr. DeHane, our airport manager.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. I just want to give a brief update. We had an event at the airport on Saturday. It was hosted by the airport, presented by the local EA Chapter 797. In conjunction with this, so it was a flying event, and in conjunction with that, they did a Young Eagles event. That's an event where they volunteers fly youth from 8 to 17 on a short 20-minute flight, kind of give them an orientation to aviation. So I'll just give you some quick data points, and then I will go sit down. So they flew 83 youth during this event. With this event too, the EAA sponsored their monthly breakfast. They served 145 meals. We had 30 visiting aircraft. There were 15 vendors on site that all gave the majority of them were happy with the event and would attend again if it were to occur. We had an estimated 500 attendees at the event, and we incurred around 130 operations on Saturday alone. So we sold some fuel. Everybody seemed pretty happy. There were no incidents. We almost had one incident, but it was just a malfunction with the airplane, and luckily we had the Suwannee Fire Rescue on station to help mitigate that, but brought a little attention to the airfield for everybody. So, but overall,
nobody got hurt. Nobody got hurt.
Nobody got hurt. It ended up being a good overall event. So I will be briefing the EAA as to maybe some things that we can do better for the next time that they host an event. A little bit more advertising, a little more communication, things like that, but it'll all be to drive a more successful event. Any questions of me?
Any questions for Mr. DeHane?
None.
No, sir. Thank you for the update. Very good. Yes, sir. Miss Betty, how are you tonight?
I'm good. Good evening.
Good. Good evening.
I just wanted to come and thank the commissioners and the state of Florida for funding a new automated automation system in the library. Our computers were like 11, 12 years old, and the systems that run them, we went through a patch where patrons would be so frustrated with response time and with the use of them that some of them decided not to come back for a while. But fortunately, this past week marked the time when all of the computers in all of the libraries was updated. So I just want to invite the public back. Please come back. A lot of patrons, rightly so, was upset, and I understand that, but we try to get every bit of life of the resources that we can out of our resources at the library. So I just wanted to make that known and invite everybody to please come back and check us out. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Betty. I'm glad you got those updated, but I also appreciate you milking the life out of all of them. Any other staff members? All right, next item on the agenda, commissioner items. Any commissioners have any items to discuss? No. County Attorney, Mr. Morrison.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before I get into it, just as a side note, between the ongoing bet between Commissioner White and myself between the Florida State game, at the rate both programs are going, it's going to air at 10 a.m. on Cartoon Network. So, yeah. So anyhow, moving on to the business at hand, Mr. Chairman. As most of the board's aware, earlier today, a search warrant was served on...
Can you speak into the mic, Mr. Morrison, please, sir? Sorry.
Earlier today, a search warrant was served on Mills Gas and Diesel Repair, LLC. I know that's come to the attention of members of the board. Somewhat contemporaneous with that, the county was served with a search warrant, or not with a search warrant, I'm sorry, a subpoena asking for county-related records relating to mills and gas and emergency management. Counties received it, will timely comply. I forwarded that when we received it this afternoon to Ms. Henderson with the EOC. She was kind enough to respond saying they had been served as well, and we should be able to timely respond to it. So, but I did just want to let the board know that we had been served with that subpoena in conjunction with that search warrant earlier today. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman, unless there's questions.
So this is, the search warrant was on mills, gas, and diesel, if I'm reading this right?
Yes, sir. So the search warrant was executed on mills, gas, and diesel, which is where the law enforcement, in this case, it would be, I'm assuming, the Department of Financial Services went in and actually physically, without warning, took the items from mills, gas, and diesel repair, but the government agencies, to wit, the county and the EOC, were served with a subpoena requesting documents within 20 days to be produced.
Okay.
And it's documents related to mills, gas, and diesel work they performed on behalf of the EOC and or the county, how they were paid, that sort of thing. So related to those issues.
During the dates of January 1st, 2024 through June the 1st of 2025?
Yes, sir. So a big block of time to make sure they get everything.
Understood. Okay.
But since we got served with that, I felt I should bring it to the board.
Thank you, sir. Any questions, comments, or for Mr. Morrison in regards to that?
None.
Okay. Seeing none, we will go to the next item on the agenda is consultant items. Are there any consultants present wishing to speak? Any county consultants? Seeing none, we will go to general business. General business, we're going to jump back to, which was item number 3. Presentation of financial report for fiscal year 2023-2024. Mr. Brad Huff, Howell, and Jones, certified public accountants. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. As always, it's a pleasure to get to work with the people in Suwannee County. We have, I've given you the audit, but it's pretty thick and everything like that. So inside of it, you guys should have a PowerPoint presentation I'm going to kind of walk through. Unfortunately, I don't have the thumb disk for that. So if you can bear with me on that one. Just kind of going through the audit. On pages 8 through 10 of the report, this is where we have our audit opinion. The audit opinion states that we conducted a full financial audit of the county, which includes the board and each one of the 5 constitutional officers. It's conducted in accordance with applicable audit standards. That includes generally accepted auditing standards. That includes governmental auditing standards, and then also state single audit auditing standards for this one. The objective of an audit is to determine whether an auditor believes that the financial statements are accurately stated for the period under the audit. And in our opinion, in the second paragraph on page 8, I believe, the financial statements do present fairly, or it states that in that second paragraph, that they do present fairly in all material respects the financial position of the county as of for the year ended September 30, 2024. This means that we believe that the information within the financial statements is reliable for decision making, and there are no material misstatements to our knowledge in there based on the procedures that we perform. Also in your report, you have the management's discussion and analysis. That's pages 11 through 17. This section basically, it brings context to what's in the rest of it, but for the sake of time, because it's based on what's in the rest of the audit report, we're going to move on to the governmental fund balance, the governmental funds balance sheet. Sorry, that's on page 22. The county maintains 34 governmental funds, which include 4 major funds that are listed on pages 22 and 23, and 30 non-major funds, which are shown separately on pages 88 through 89. And this is on your balance sheet that we're talking about. And basically, a balance sheet shows what the county governmental funds own, what they owe, and then the net of those, which is your fund balance. It's also a snapshot of your financial view as of September 30, 2024. So if you look on page 22, or the next slide, It just talks about the assets that are owned by the general fund and then the total governmental funds in all. So the general fund has 27 million in assets as of that time, and then a overall fund balance of 18.28 million. One useful metric that we like to share is the reserve ratio. This tells how long reserves would last, assuming spending year over year stayed consistent. At the bottom of that slide, on slide 6, it is you guys would have in your unassigned fund balance, which was $11.78 million. If spending was consistent, you would have had 5 months of reserves, assuming no revenues came in. The Governmental Financial Officers of Association, the GFOA, recommends a minimum balance of 2 months. So in that respect, the county's general fund had nearly 5 months, which was twice of what the minimum recommendation was. The page is 23, and this is page 7 slide. Revenues for the general fund were about 34 million. Expenditures were 28 million. Which operationally that would be about a 5.6 million increase in net assets. Due to transfer to other funds, the general fund showed a $2.6 million decrease in net assets, but the total overall governmental funds showed an increase of about 213,000, which means you stayed pretty much even for governmental funds there. In addition to your governmental funds, you also have proprietary funds. These are enterprise funds or business type funds, and they're utilized for county operations, which are intended to fully operate from user charges. In this case, we're talking about a solid waste collection fund, a solid waste disposal fund, and a water plant fund. And the accounting for this operates more like a for-profit business. And so the statement of net position, which again shows, what these funds own and what they owe, and then the net of those, which is your net position. One thing we like to look at is your unrestricted net position. That's the net position you have, the net of your assets less your liabilities that you're able to spend. Your solid waste collection had a very small deficit there. Your solid waste disposal had 2.4 million, which we did that. He said 5 months you had for your general fund. In this case, that would be roughly about 15 months you have in reserves for that solid waste disposal, and then about I'd say about 10 to 11 months for your water plant fund there. So those are all above, collectively, they're above that GFOA low bar recommendation by quite a bit, so that's good. Statement of revenues and expenses show what you earned and what you spent on that. As per usual, your operating income for those funds was, you're coming at a deficit there of about $2 million for solid waste collection, about $1 million for solid waste disposal, and about $500,000 for water plant. But this has always been floated by your special tax assessment, and so as a result, your change in net position actually went up in those funds, collectively about $1 million over the course over the 3 funds, and that's your that. Next thing we want to look at, as per usual, is the capital assets. These are on pages 49 and 50 of your report, but page 11 of the slide sheet there. There's a lot of numbers here. The main thing I want to point out here is using depreciation as a measure of useful life remaining on those depreciable assets. You guys have about 50% of the useful life remaining. Now, that's an imperfect estimation, but it gives you kind of an idea of what you need to be planning for and as you replace these capital assets as they go out of service. So, but about 50% of the useful life is used up there. Another thing we like to look at is debt management of the county. That's pages 52 to 55 of your report, page 12 of your slide. The county paid down, their debt overall for the county decreased by about $8.5 million last year. This was primarily the result of paying down outstanding debt and lease obligations. The decrease of the county's proportionate share of the FRS, and the decrease of the county's share of the FRS net pension liability. If you look at that table there, 75% of your debt about 85% of your debt's between OPEB and the FRS pension liability, which is just actuarially determined numbers that are put on there. Really, you have about 8 to 10% is what you pay down. Worth of that debt, total of $48 million is what you're paying down every year, which comes out to be about, looking at it, about $4.5 million. And that includes lease liabilities. The business type activities debt, which again is your enterprise funds. You had compensated absences of about $185,000. You have the estimated landfill closure and post liability of about $1.3 million. Your portion of the FRS pension liability is about $2 million, and then the only thing that you're actually paying down on an annual basis is your finance leases there, and there's about a liability of about $165,000. That's the smallest amount of all of them. In addition to the to looking at the numbers, we also look at internal controls and also federal and state spending. In the current year, federally, you probably spent about $400,000, which did not qualify for a federal single audit, but the state funds that you guys received, you spent well more than the $750,000 that was qualified for that, which, as per usual, triggered a state single audit. Based on a state single audit, basically we're looking at, are you in compliance with how the state's telling you to spend your money? And in these certain projects and programs. And the 3 programs that we selected were the SHIP program, the State Aid to Public Libraries program, and then the Small Counties Outreach program from the Department of Transportation. And based on our audit procedures, there were no findings or non-compliance with those 3 programs that we looked at there. In addition, we have in your report on pages 104 and 105, we have a management letter, which is required by the rules of the Auditor General. Basically, this talks about follow-up on prior year findings and then also your financial condition assessment. And we're going to talk about findings in a second, but there were a couple of findings that were followed up in that management letter. The financial condition assessment, there were no deteriorating financial conditions that we could tell based on the county. So in that regards, the county is not in severe danger or what have you of deteriorating financial condition there. Let's see. In addition to the management letter, we also have a report over internal controls over financial reporting. That's pages 95 and 96. This basically says that we don't only look at numbers, we also look at internal controls. And if we find issues with internal controls, as we'll talk about in a minute, then we report on those as findings. And so, in addition to that report, and like I said, we'll talk about the findings here in a second, the independent accountant's report says that we look at things with regard to investment of public funds, how the compliance with the E911 grant, the clerk's court-related budgetary compliance, the clerk's compliance with state court performance standards, and the clerk's alimony and child support payments. And based on the procedures we performed, we had no findings regarding to those specific areas that were just enumerated. Like I said, we did have, we identified on, let's see, pages 107 through 115 of the report is where you're going to find the findings. We identified 8 findings during our audit, and we had 6 other recommendations. I'm going to go through just read through each one of the 8 findings. They're all related to the Sheriff's Office, and so Sheriff's Office 2020-24-001 finding accounting software conversion. This is a repeat finding. The issue was accounting software was not properly configured, so reports produced from the software were inaccurate. The recommendation is adequate training be provided to the software implementation of systems to ensure that year-end close occurs at the appropriate time. 2024-002, inadequate segregation of duties, also a repeat finding. The finance director has the ability to initiate, approve, and process disbursements without an independent review, which weakens the internal control environment. Recommendation, put in place procedures that strengthen approval of disbursement function. 2024-003, fixed assets or capital assets is the fixed asset listing has not been updated to reflect disposed assets, indicating inadequate procedures related to inventory review. Recommendation, put in place procedures that enforce stronger controls of the fixed asset acquisition, maintenance, and disposition process. 2024-004, budgetary practices. Budgets were only prepared for one of the sheriff's funds, the general fund, and it was not actively monitored throughout the year. Recommendation, prepare budgets for all funds, including smaller, special revenue funds, and put in place procedures to actively monitor adherence throughout the year. 2024-005, bank reconciliations. Due to lack of familiarity with the accounting software, bank reconciliations for the general fund had not been completed in a timely manner. Recommendation, prepare bank reconciliations in a timely manner. Ensure that the finance director has been appropriately trained and put a review process in place to approve the reconciliations once completed. 2024-006, potential credit card abuse. During our review of the credit card and expenditures, we found numerous charges that could have been wasteful or fraudulent. We did not note an adequate review process which helped create the opportunity of fraud, or at least would have given credence to those allegations. Recommendations, adopt a credit card policy requiring a review of credit card charges and requiring the card carriers to produce sufficient documentation to be able to determine if his or her charge had a legitimate governmental purpose. 2024-007, accounting errors and inaccuracies. There are several instances where revenues and expenditures were recorded net of each other as opposed to being recorded at their gross value in which in the proper category. In other instances of duplicate entries, improper classifications, and other inaccuracies. Recommendation, strengthen review processes, consolidate accounting functions within the finance department, provide staff training on governmental classifications. 2024-008, grant management. Grant management and oversight was inadequate and resulted in improper tracking, reporting, and recording of grant information by the finance department. Recommendation, centralize the grant management function within the finance department, separate duties amongst finance staff, and implement a review process to ensure grant expenditures are allowable and necessary and reasonable. In addition to that, we had several recommendations which are all recorded in the report and can be discussed at a later time. Again, we really appreciate the opportunity to work with you guys this year and open the floor to any questions you all have.
Any questions for Mr. Huff? Huff? Is it Huff or Hugh?
Huff, yes, sir.
Huff.
Yes, sir.
I got one right now. So you said that the county paid down, I'm trying to find the page, $8.5 million?
No, sir.
Our debt decreased by
your debt decreased by $8.5 million. A lot of that is based on the actuarial determination of the FRS net pension liability.
That's right.
And then also pay down of like finance leases and what have you and stuff like that. So you didn't pay down $8.5 million, no, sir.
Yeah, the FRS accounts for a large
yes, sir,
portion of that as
well.
well.
OPEB as well.
Which
yes, sir.
Occurs annually.
Yes, sir, it does.
Right.
Yes, sir. And it fluctuates based on the economy and everything like that as well. So it could go up next year, it could go down next year. So
based on your payroll, your economy,
yes,
et cetera, et cetera.
Yep. How investments are going to occur, increase or decrease, how much you have to pay into it and stuff like that. But yes, sir.
And that rate isn't set by?
It's actuarially determined and then given to us by the state.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
I said that for public clarity.
Yeah, no. Yeah,
That's not a number that we say, all right, we're going to pay in $4 million this year to FRS.
No, sir.
Any other questions for Mr. Huff? I got one. Mr. Huff, on these findings, all the findings, there were 8 total, all those related to the sheriff's office?
Yes, sir.
And I got a question for you. On the ones that say repeated in excess of second year, previously recommendation 2022. So when it says repeated, that means that that's a repeat finding.
Yes, sir. It means that in the management letter, it shows like a little chart that says which ones were repeated 1 year, which ones repeated 2 years. Yes, sir.
Okay, so in 2022 then, there was a finding of inadequate segregation of duties.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then in 2023 there was one.
Yes, sir.
And it says here on page 111, under the potential credit card abuse, during our review of credit card transactions, we noted numerous charges which appeared that could be potentially wasteful or fraudulent on several users' accounts. Some charges from the former finance director have been turned over to the FDLE, and an investigation is ongoing related to certain charges on her card. The charges turned over for further investigation did not exceed $10,000. So, had those recommendations from the last 3 years been done by segregation of duties of the finance director, would that have happened?
I can't definitively answer that, but I can say we're a risk-based company, right? And so we say if you had implemented those, the risk would have been significantly reduced. So, and I can say that.
Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Huff?
I'll just say I appreciate the information. I appreciate how much information is here for us to look at.
Yes, sir.
In this audit, which I think, where's Keith? Is Keith here? In this audit will be on your website tomorrow, or what?
Yes, I'll
This.
put in a request to our web person to put them on.
So this really thick book will be available to the public tomorrow?
Yes,
Okay.
an electronic copy would be able to put out.
Okay. Sheriff, you and I talked yesterday. You got a response in this book. Would you like to speak to it, or just want to leave it as written for the public to read tomorrow? That's up to you. It's okay. Fair enough. I just want to give you the opportunity. All the findings were in your office, so I want to make sure you had the opportunity to speak if you wanted to.
Mr. Chairman.
Fair enough. Commissioner Perkins. Mr. Huff.
Mr. Huff. Okay.
Yes, sir.
On the repeated items that you were repeatedly having a problem with the sheriff department having, at any time they reach out to you for help or ask for anything to assist them to correct these items?
To correct those items, we have discussed things.
Shortfall, deficiencies, or anything. They ask you for any help.
We've discussed things throughout the audit and what have you, and so I can't say that there's been necessarily outside of the audits or anything like that that's been reached out, but I can say within the audit we've had discussions with staff at that point in time.
Yes, sir.
Would you actually get one thing about that?
Sure. Come on. You're welcome.
Like me and you discussed with me, you and Adam, is that this is soon to be my 9th year, and what's occurred here is that Michelle Emmons, which is back here now, she's been my financial director from 17 until like for the next six years, and nothing like this has occurred. And then, what's happened here on this one, that the finding is that, I had a different finance director, and we had some issues with her. Plus, we had, just like I was saying in our meeting, we had 3 perfect storms here, along with her inexperience and so forth. And this is what's occurred. So this is normally not how we conduct business. And in the past, in the last 6 years, we've never had anything like this. And when we changed directors and we had all the storms, and this are just kind of equates to a perfect storm. But in the findings, we've corrected quite a few of the items that he's mentioned, and like I say, we're going to do better as far as taking care of business here. But here again, just to make sure that this is not the way we do business, and that the last 6 years shows that we don't, because we never had any findings to mount anything.
Well, I think I don't know that that's a correct statement, because it says here these are previous. He said for 3 years you've had, for the last 6 years I'm confused, because it says repeat finding for 3 years, and you just said you didn't have any findings for the last 6 years.
Okay. I'm saying that we didn't have the extent of these findings the last 6 years.
Any other questions for the sheriff or Mr. Huff?
So you've got, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Commissioner White.
So you've implemented stuff to fix all this?
Yes, sir.
At this time, is it all done, or?
Well, it's most of it's been done, but there's still some in the process. Yes, sir.
So have we got the separation now that we need?
Well, that's the thing that we're going to have to discuss, because it's when you talk about separation, we talk about more employees, and that's going to take more money. But we do have some plans in place. Yes.
When do you got, like, is that new employee transit? I don't remember what you told me yesterday. Is that employee transitioning now or next? You're going to wait till next fiscal year?
We haven't added an employee. We just added more duties to the one that we've had up there.
Moving
Yes, sir.
somebody over?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions for the sheriff or Mr. Huff?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Perkins.
Sheriff St. John's, I know he's talked about somewhere about some of your software. Have you changed software, or are you going to go to a different software to be able to have a better record keeping service, and or you have a backup person being able to help with this, not just one person operating it?
No, we're staying with ADG. It's just we just got to make sure that we get trained, and make sure that everybody that uses it knows how to use it in a proper way and efficient with it.
Okay, so at this time, when you have a check and balance point, how would you have a check and balance point to ensure that the person who's operating it, you won't be like that last person who gave the problem? So how do you have a check and balance point?
On the, that might be a Michelle question there. This is Michelle Evans. She's my own finance director here.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Michelle.
So it is one person that has had full control in the past. So what we're trying to do to change this is every check run that I produce is vetted by my fiscal coordinator, and then it is also signed off by the chief deputy, somebody outside of the finance office. At the end of every month, a register will be ran for the chief deputy and the fiscal coordinator to review that everything that hit those books was already approved by those two. At the end of the fiscal year, chief deputy and sheriff will review a total register that is run after the books are done for them to both verify that every single check that has been through that account has been checked off and approved by two other people. As far as the credit card policy, what we're doing with that is we're creating the policy now. I'm trying to get it approved through management. We'll get that in place. Every month that the credit card statement comes in, they are emailed to the card holder. They come to me, they're emailed to the card holder. They produce all the receipts, they come in. The two credit cards that we have in the finance office are now going to be approved by the chief deputy. Nothing will stay within my office. It will have to be approved by somebody else before payment is processed. And again, that it still has to be approved by two more people. So again, as the new fiscal coordinator is learning, we're going to do segregation of duties. I'm going to have to give stuff to other people so that we can have a checks and balance in place with the limited staff that we have.
Okay, to the sheriff, would there be a briefing or a time that you will get with your people to ensure or to see if these things are being done, that you will have a communication with them and check, have a quarterly meeting or some type of meeting to meet with your people to make sure that everything are lined up and running as should?
Well, yeah, it's already in place, Commissioner. Yeah, we do it monthly. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Mobley.
Ms. Emmons, is there set limits on those cards, or do people use them?
We have not had one established before, but that's part of our credit card policies. There will be a form signed off by everybody that this is your card, this is your limit. If there are any changes, it will have to be vetted by the sheriff or the chief deputy.
So right now, it's just open game spend?
At this moment, that's why we're restructuring everything. We're trying to get everything in place so we can be compliant.
I got you. Yes, ma'am.
And there is oversight.
All right, good. Yes,
Good. Commissioner Hale.
And I hear everything that you're saying, but is Mr. Huff or another company, someone going to oversee these implementations to make sure that we're brought up to speed and we're not just kind of spinning the wheels here? Just it comes up that, hey, there's another mistake. Do we use a company to do this? Do we use Mr. Huff and his folks to do this? I'm just saying, you're making policy change. You're making changes to it. Is there someone other than just within the organization going to say, yes, this is what you need to do this right, is what I'm asking?
It might be I don't think they. I mean, I think they just do the end results, the end results. But I mean, if we definitely if we need to, we can get on someone, from a third party. That's yes, sir. Yeah, we're glad to do it. Yes, sir. We'll take care of that. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Commissioner White.
I seen in the findings there where there was pre-printed, pre-signed checks. Is it just the signatures put on them when they're printed, or are they already signed?
I'm sorry.
The pre-signed checks. Explain that to them.
Do you have pre-signed checks, or are they just printed, signed when they go through the printer?
They're when they're printed, they're signed through the
So
printing.
they're not
they're
blank
just a
checks
blank
with
piece of paper.
signatures on them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Huff. To be clear on this, we're talking about fiscal year in 2024, right?
Yes,
so we're going to have the same. Some of these. In other words, we're going to get another report, another audit next year that we'll have another fiscal year. We're just now implementing some we're going to have some more findings next year on this next audit because we got another fiscal year that just ended September 30th, and we're implementing these changes. After 3 years of being told to, we're going to have a fourth year. Right, so
yes, sir.
In other words, I don't want to expect I should not be expecting a clean slate on the next audit. It will be the one following.
Yes, sir. The implementation would be in fiscal year 2026.
2026.
I feel like you guys would have that understanding. That's probably what's going to be what you're going to catch.
Okay. Any other questions from the board?
Well, just one or more just a statement for me. Could somebody report back to the board when those changes have been made? Just so we know that it's being done, it's been done, and we're good?
Yes, sir. No problem. Yes, sir. We're going to take care of that. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Any members from the public wishing to speak on this agenda item? Okay, well, y'all just.
Steve Fontana, 21181 144th Street. And my main question is, right, we got all the findings, but what's the loss? I heard a $10,000 thrown around, but in the beginning of this, there was like millions of dollars in grant money or something that kind of set it off. But I'm just wondering, what's the impact of all this? That's all. I'm just looking for that.
Mr. Huff, I don't know that there is on this particular audit a loss, if you will. Mr. Huff, am I wrong?
If you're asking is what was the specific credit card fraud material to financial statement, I'm not saying fraud, I don't know. But the scenario where is it material to financial statements, is it a big amount and everything like that? It's just not something that's going to necessarily impact the county financially in a great way. It's a small amount. It's more
Okay.
internal control procedure.
So just from my own perspective, this is, and I think it's worthwhile making things better. That's good, but I like to look at things in degree too. Was there a large infraction or was it a small infraction? And I guess what I'm seeing here, it doesn't seem like a huge one, but not that we should treat something, appropriately, but I just want to ask that question.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Mr. Huff, next time if you would just come to because there were some folks that I could hear them say I couldn't hear. Name and address, please, sir.
Bo Hancock, 6135 Wiggins Road. I don't know about y'all. There's 8 infractions. Several of them have been repeated for 3 years. I don't know the exact number. This information I have not seen before. It's not included in the agenda packet. Now we're going to have it online, but that's tomorrow. Why wasn't it here beforehand? Number one. Number two, Sheriff, you need to resign. You cannot manage the Sheriff's Department, period. You have demonstrated that. And I've supported you in the past. I will not support you for dog catcher in the future. Thank you.
Anyone? Name and address, please, sir.
Moses Klepper, 1458100 Second Path, Live Oak. I was going to point out, me and Mr. Hancock had several discussions over the sheriff's race, and he was a staunch supporter, and I got to witness the things that come to pass that got him in the position he is now. I just come up here mainly to remind this board that there's multiple FOIA requests that have not been fulfilled by the Sheriff's Department. That's what I wanted to say.
Anyone else from the public wishing to speak on this item? Any other board discussion? Y'all good?
Good.
All right, we're going to move along. Mr. Huff, thank you and your agency for what you do for the county.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Next item on the agenda is discuss with possible board action compensation and classification study. Mr. Furry.
Excuse me. Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, thank you. As you know, Evergreen did a pay and class study for us, a compensation and classification study. I think Mr. Williamson, a couple meetings ago, did a brief report for us. And so this is just a follow-up on that to see if the board is interested in acting on that. We have some recommendations in there, refer to, updating job titles, job descriptions, the pay ranges, the bring to minimum approach that he discussed. He had 3 approaches: the hybrid, the tenure based, and the bring to minimum was the most economical. So that was kind of what the board was leaning towards. So that's what we recommend here. At the time, I think that was just over $300,000 bring to minimum, and then the additional would be the benefits, the fringe benefits. About 30% is what we are, tasked with multiplying that by to accommodate the benefit package. But you can see in your packet there, we talk about the cost of living increase. Mr. Williamson referred to basing that off of a CPI each year in the spring. Look at that rate and make our budget plans based on that as well, to replace the typical 50 cents that the board has been doing in the past. It felt like that was a better way to approach the cost of living. And then we discussed, it's also in there up for discussion, some sort of a performance evaluation system that department heads and supervisors could implement to, get some feedback to the employees and reward those that have earned that through the year, and those that didn't, then, give them that feedback so they can do a better job and maybe get that the following year. But so that's something that is in the policy now is an evaluation system, but there's no financial backing of that. So I'd like for you guys to consider that and what that looks like. I think Evergreen reported a 0 to 3% possibility for performance evaluation. I put in there 0 to 2. That's for you guys to decide and discuss. But a couple other things they mentioned in there was to do this study every 3 to 5 years. I don't know that that's needed. I think that seems a little bit quick, but the point is we haven't done one in 30 years, so let's not get in that position again. What is the right number to look at that? I don't know, but every 5 to 7 years, something like that. I assume department heads and staff would assess that informally throughout, each year as we talk to other counties and go to conferences and meetings and hear from staff, the guys, the market, what's the private sector paying equipment operators and that sort of thing. That's kind of done informally already. And then the last piece was just the compression issue that some of these bring to minimums, will cause, over the next year to address those. Somebody's been here 5 years. We bring somebody to minimum we just hired, and now all of a sudden they're making almost the same or the same as that person. We need to address that. So I know the board had set aside $250,000, I think, out of during the budget workshop and the approving the budget. All departments right now, and I can hush and you guys can discuss, but just so you know, when we met with each department head and went through, each department head can cover the bring to minimum out of their existing budgets right now. There's a couple. Custodial doesn't have a huge budget, but I think Mr. Durham was going to cover some of that out of his maintenance budget. So the figure, and I will note that on the bring to minimum, it was $310,000. It's actually $320,000. There were several employees that were left off the list incidentally in a couple of different departments. So the number to bring to minimum is actually $320,000. It's 320,066.70. That's staff's figuring. And then rough estimate on the 30% is another 99,000. So you're looking at 418,000 that the departments can cover out of their budget, and you won't have to touch that 250. And we could save that for some of the compression issues. I know that's a lot of information, but
Commissioners, what's y'all's thoughts on this? I mean, I know I've been saying since I got on the board that we definitely need to implement some type of annual performance evaluation and some type of job classification system. I mean, we have grown over the last 30 years. I know it says here we haven't done one in 30 years, but the amount of employees that the county has significantly increased, as well as our population and our needs and services that we provide for the amount of people that we provide. So therefore our staff has, but it's kind of been based on a case-by-case employee hiring on what that employee is hired on at based on their qualifications, whereas there's probably some discrepancies that have been made over the years.
There's been no rhyme or reason in some cases, and we need a plan to work within. This establishes ranges, the minimum. It adjusts those, allows the department head to place somebody in that range of the new hire based on their experience. But
then annually evaluate those employees, so that they could be compensated adequately or not based on their performance evaluation for the year.
I think the whole structure, it allows us to recruit and retain those quality employees, and those that aren't hitting the mark, they can make a decision to stay and try to get better, or they can make a decision that maybe they go somewhere else. And I don't say that lightly, but that's what feedback is. I want to know how I'm doing and give me a chance to get there.
Yeah, you reward the ones that are hitting the mark and have an annual conversation with the ones that say, hey man, or hey, I need a little more out of you or whatnot.
As part of this, we did not, I think that I would request that staff bring back the performance evaluation piece of this to you in a separate agenda item in the future. And, staff's already been looking at different evaluation system, whether it's online or cloud-based or, piece of paper with what questions, what areas are we looking at, grading on. But we bring that system and structure back to you with some percentages and the questions that we want to hit and the feedback we want to get and give. We want to receive that as well. Our supervisors, department heads want to get some feedback from their staff, but we would bring that back separately and not necessarily address that tonight, just principally, put some money behind it and be willing to back it.
Commissioners?
What was you saying about the evaluation? Are we doing away with the 50-cent an hour raise and just going to a straight evaluation?
That's what we need to discuss. So right now, we have the longevity piece, which doesn't really factor into this. That's part of the policy for the longevity. We have our only cost of living increase is the 50 cents. That has nothing to do, we don't have an evaluation piece at all. Our current policy in our rules and regs dictates that we should do evaluations, but it doesn't tie any kind of financial, basis to it. If you rate this, you get a 1% or a 0.5%. It just says we should do evaluations, which is great, and we should, but I don't think most departments are probably not doing them on a regular basis with everybody, because there's no real system to it. It's just we should do one.
Yep.
Go ahead.
But after the employee evaluation was complete, the annual employee evaluation, based on that employee's performance, we did create a policy that allowed for pay increases for department heads and then maybe the department head supervisor. Did we not create something like that? Because it's going to be hard. Like, how are you going to create an evaluation form with a classification and say, hey, you're only going to get 25 cents an hour because you only hit this mark? Well, how can you rate that across the board?
Just say, for instance, you have a grading scale of 0 to 5, whatever that is, below average, average, above average, superior, whatever, 0 to 4. If you rank average, 4. You get a 2%. If you rank superior, you get a 4%. But you get to set those ranges, or we get to set and recommend those ranges.
That makes sense.
And then the cost of living, that's performance evaluation. The cost of living would be the one that's tied to the CPI, or that Mr. Williamson recommended that we tie to the CPI every spring. So two separate things. And that's why, we're not trying to say you get a 5% cost of living and then you can get a 5% performance evaluation, but if the CPI is 2% for inflation and you get an outstanding evaluation, maybe you get 3 or 4% there, That's where the rubber meets the road and how much money this costs.
Board members, any direction?
Not at the moment.
I'll do public comment in a minute. We're still talking about it. Just hold on a minute.
Well, I don't know. I see what you're talking about, and I like merit-based pay. I mean, I like that. I don't believe in just handing somebody just because they show up every day. I mean, there's a minimum for that, and anything above that, you have to earn it. So, I'd like to know some figure of what that might cost across the county before we implement anything.
Yeah.
I mean,
and not only just across the country, but doing the math on it for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
I'm like you, Commissioner. I just want to know what we're budgeting for.
Sure.
What that number may look.
And I think that would be.
We kind of know now. It's set.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
If I may, just an observation here in terms of what's being asked for. So if you look at the two things that I think would actually require board action, for example, adopt the proposed reclassifications and update the class descriptions, like those the board could act on today and say yes. Looking at the other ones, what I'm hearing the county administrator say is essentially, can you guys provisionally say this is a good idea and we'll come back to you with the actual policy? So I don't think the board's necessarily, he's not asking for approval of anything today. It's just generically, is the board okay with the concept? So,
On the performance evaluation piece, yes.
Right.
We would like approval on the job title description to bring the minimum that was recommended in the study, but the job performance evaluation piece and what that looks like, we would bring that back, and we can include part of the study, what it looks like 1 year, 2 year, 5 years out, different percentages. We can come up with that.
Mr.
Yeah. Commissioner Perkins.
Yeah, I think what Jason's saying, and hearing from our report that we've gotten, you said that we're judging from the other counties that we were behind. And to bring our people up there, to be able to maintain good employees. I think some of us can attest to that. Trying to keep good employees on your job, you got to pay. And I think that is where we can bring that up to where we'll be, to where it can be competitive. I feel that would be great to do that.
I 100% agree, Commissioner Perkins. So, board, let me ask you this. So there are several recommendations from the study that staff asked for the board to consider. One being adopt the proposed reclassification, the job titles, to realign the job title with the essential functions being performed. Number two, update existing class descriptions, the job descriptions, to ensure they accurately reflect the work being done by the employee. Are y'all okay with those two?
Sure.
Okay.
Those I'm good with, yes.
So I need a motion to approve. Do I need a motion to approve, Mr. Morrison?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I don't think this is Mayberry anymore. I think it's time that we implement something like that. So I would agree. Do I have a motion to approve number 1 and number 2?
So moved.
Have a motion by Commissioner Perkins. Second by Commissioner White. All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. 5-0 on adopting the proposed reclassification, which is job titles, and updating existing class descriptions, which is the job descriptions for that job title. There's several more here. I think, Mr. Furry, you want to say that is the next most important one, the adopt the bring the minimum approach to place employees into the new pay plan? Is that your next highest on the priority list?
Yeah, I mean, that goes with the pay grade. The pay range is tied to the bring to minimum, yeah. Because you're going to set the pay range. That's a new minimum, mid, and max. And we're going to bring those employees that are lagging behind the market up to that minimum. That's
Right.
where we come up with the $400,000 for the bring to minimum. So, yes, those two to go together.
Right. And you did state that there are funds in every department's current budgets to do that. The 400,000 would be countywide. But if not, the board did set aside during budget workshops $250,000 to be used, but we urged department heads not to.
That's correct, and they did a great job going through their budgets and coming up with
So
those
the bring
savings.
to minimum approach, there's funds available inside every department's to make that happen countywide. Yeah.
Minus maybe 14,000 from custodial, but yes, that's covered. Yes, you're correct.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve to bring?
Before you do all the voting, shouldn't you allow the vote?
You're exactly right. Come on, Mr. Klepper.
In fact, that invalidates the previous one. Fortunately, we're not in opposition to what y'all did on that previous one. Y'all didn't give us the opportunity to speak on.
We or you?
Well, my group I'm
Okay.
representing.
All right. I got you.
And I've had
I was just asking for
discussions
clarity.
with more than just me.
So we're good on the first two. Now you can.
I don't object to them. But
I didn't think you'd say we were good, but go ahead.
you're good. You're good.
Dang, I'm gonna fall.
Other than doing it before we got to speak. But I love hearing the merit-based performance evaluations and raises. The astonishing thing is that the conservative people in this state went to sleep and allowed minimum wage to go to next year be $30,000 minimum wage. So an inexperienced individual with nothing to take to the table will be required to be paid $30,000 a year. So the compression, and listen to this, because I'm giving y'all a little bit of attaboy, or not blaming y'all, some of that compression has nothing to do with y'all's performance, you know. It was done by the voters, again, by a lot of people sleeping, I guess. But still, I go back to Mr. Williamson and his study. He's the one. He's the one that has helped at least the top end of the pay, the 100,000 plus or 80,000 plus. He's helped those keep getting out of hand, and desperate boards. I've seen it some here, not as bad as some other counties and metropolitan cities and all, where they're paying outrageous salaries because they're panicking that they're not going to be able to fill the position. And that's not responsible to do that, you know. So those numbers that we're paying some on the top end in this county is out of control. I've recommended to each one of y'all I'm looking at what would be a reasonable thing. I'd love to see any of these department heads. Well, we had one walk off over $100,000, but came back. But I say cap them out at $100,000. Any of y'all in here wouldn't work for $100,000 plus the vehicle, plus all the perks, the premium benefits package. Very few that wouldn't do that. If they are, they're in it for the wrong reason. Anybody that's not willing to, do a service and be compensated $100,000 plus, they're in it solely for the money. You know, and as far as we got local people here that love to have those positions, train them. We got a good example of I don't necessarily agree with everything that's come to path, but the grooming and the mentorship of Mr. Scott and Mr. Furry is a good example that we need, and we need somebody under him, a third guy. What happens? We don't need to have these vacancies and have to panic and get somebody in here and pay them 40% more than what the job should pay, you know, and chop that daggum top of the brackets out across the county, make everybody but that position a 116 max, make that one a 117 max. That's fair, that's competitive overall nationwide, and something Mr. Williamson, he danced around and wouldn't admit to. He didn't take into consideration. Mr. Perkins just said that we're behind. By his study, yes, we are behind, but we're also behind by the people who pay y'all salaries. All right, the people that pay all y'all salaries out here ain't making the money y'all making. All right, they're making a third, a fourth, a sixth of what some of y'all are making. And to think it's okay to put that great burden on them so that these elite groups, a few in department heads and appointed officials in this county can make $100,000 plus, and the poor people of this county paying their salaries, it will never settle good with me, and I have nothing against anyone making millions of dollars a year out in the private sector. But this is supposed to be a service-oriented job, and it's supposed to have great benefits. So cap them salaries at $100,000, except for that one, at pay grade 116. And work on take that top money, put it down in the middle where it belongs, reduce that compression, and then work on the benefits for these people that work for the county and take care of their children and their wives, spouses, their family, so they ain't having to pay $600-800 a month in insurance.
Anyone else from the public wishing to speak?
Mr. Broders.
Mr. Broders.
The thing that I wanted to mention is that the people who serve in the public capacities, I think they're called public servants. Well, if they're public servants, then why shouldn't they be getting Social Security like everybody else? And if they want to get a retirement plan, why don't they go ahead and fund their own 401k? I think that, frankly, first off, public employees are paid more than private employees. They get more money, and they have pension plans paid for out by the people who they're supposed to serve. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Thank you, Mr. Broders. Anyone else from the public wishing to speak? All right. Board, the adopt the bring the minimum approach to place employees into the new pay plan. Where are y'all at with that one? Commissioner Hale.
I'm good with that one. That's what Mr. Klepper there was talking about, and I think it's what we're asking to be brought back to us to discuss at a later date, how we're going to pay them, what we're going to pay them, and all that. That's fine, but I think to bring these folks to minimum, which we have to, and we don't have really a choice here. We've got to do that. When is that? Is that next year?
No, the $14 an hour.
$15 an hour will be next year. Yes,
15 will be next year.
Gotcha.
But are you through, Mr. Hill?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
So do I have a motion to approve the adopt to bring the minimum approach to place the employees into a new pay plan?
So moved.
I'm gonna go Commissioner Perkins. Motion, a second by Commissioner Hale.
Sure.
All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. So, Mr. Furry, the evaluation and the percentage of increases based on those evaluations, you're going to get with staff and maybe evergreen and figure out what that looks like and bring that back to us?
Yep. Yes, sir.
Is there anything else you need in regards to this tonight? Or did I mean, do you want to talk about the cost of living, or do you want to bring that back later based on what the...
To me, the cost of living is a little bit different than the performance evaluation. I think the performance is what we need to bring back. I think it'd be good to have a conversation on the cost of living, but that's up to you guys.
So,
do you want to continue?
We're doing 50-cent cost of living and 1% longevity.
Correct. Right now.
So if we implement a merit-based, there's going to be something there for the ones that qualify or hit the mark or hit a mark. Board, what's your thoughts on that? Do you go to a CPI index that floats, or do you stay with 50 cent across the board for everybody? Everyone, I'm not speaking correctly. Conversation.
Yeah, I agree that, I say I agree, I don't know if you agreed. Just to comment on what you said, I mean, there's got to be, doesn't have to be, but we need to discuss having something there. I would think, whether it be the index, whether it be 50 cents, 35 cents, 40 cents, I don't know.
I tell you what.
But again, we don't know, I mean.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
If we're going to bring back the evaluation and you want to wait and have that discussion so it's another piece of the puzzle that you can put them both together.
That's what I'd prefer.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I want to see too is what does that look like and kind of a rough cost of what that looks like.
On a CPI included with it, like a whole package to, all right.
Yeah, I think that when you do that, if you could look at if you could tell us what CPI index you're proposing and what that CPI index was for, let's say, the last 2 years, so we see some historical data on, hey, if we would have done this CPI index, it would have been 1%. If we'd have used this one, it would have been 3%, or whatever those were, based on the.
Yeah, I don't know the different ones. He recommended the South region, which makes sense, but we can look at a couple
right,
of different
but whatever
scenarios.
entity posts, whatever CPI index you are proposing we use, give us a little bit of historical, couple years historical data, and then what cost that would have looked like, and then we can compare that to what the 1% and 50 cent look like, and then what it may look like going forward.
Yeah, if you do 2% on this one and 1% on this, and just what all the puzzle pieces are together, we can.
Well, yeah, the
we'll come up with
1%.
scenarios.
Yeah, we can look at the 1% and 50. We know what that cost us, but what would the
But how
what
does
would
it
this
affect?
what was that index? What did that index? What would it have looked like
Yeah, I got
2
you.
years ago? And then what would it look like this year or next year?
Right.
We can do that. We can do that.
All right, so we're going to postpone that one.
The only other, sorry, Mr. Chairman, the only other thing would be to, we requested about the compression, how we handle that with the, if you allow staff to handle compression issues with the 250 that was set aside throughout this year, or some compression can be handled within departments as well. Some departments have brought that to us.
Board, on the compression.
How?
I don't have a problem with that, but I would like for the board to see who that was and how much they got.
I remember that statement, so that.
And what, yeah, because we want to know how much.
I mean, I'd like,
250.
just so there's some oversight on our part.
Yeah, so tell me if y'all are okay with this. Could you, Mr. Furry, could you get with your department heads and see where your compression issues are with what employees, and then bring to the commissioners a proposed, like, hey, Parks and Rec says they got an issue with employee A. Yeah. He's way down. They want to bring him up to this. And then fire whatever the departments are, and then say, hey, board, and then I'm not going to ask you to put that in their names in the agenda packet, but I think the board, even if you spoke to the board members individually or had a whatever.
And I'm good with it, Mr. Chairman, just to see what each department, what that number looks like.
How bad their compression is or isn't.
Yeah, right.
And we've got those figures now from each department and the totals now. I don't want to share individual names, but yeah, we can give you a list of what it looks like,
see what that looks
how it worked. This guy was here 5 years. This guy, he got right up underneath him with the bring to minimum, and he's been here 5 years. So we need to continue to have that separation for the tenure.
I don't need to see who the employee is, but I want to see what he was making.
I understand.
And what you're bringing him to.
That's what the total is per department.
So the totals, just FYI, for while we're here, the totals for all departments was about $270,000 before benefits, just in salary. And first go look around of compression within your department.
Now, how far up the chain does that go? I mean,
it's
is
not
that
for
just affecting the lower to middle employees, or is that affecting
typically,
for instance, you?
No, it's not going to affect me. It's not going to affect the department heads and senior level staff, because they already have that separation. If you're bringing a entry level employee up,
I want to see it for the lower to mid. That's where I think it ought to.
No, now there are several upper level, not department heads, but below department head staff that, in my opinion, probably need an adjustment based on the market. And you might have I don't want to call out names, but you have a local position with the city that might not have certifications that our staff has in a county department, and we're making less money and pulling more, doing more workload than another counterpart. So there are some positions that historically have not been brought up to where they need to be in their field. So that has nothing to do with compression. I think that's a separate conversation that we need to have on one-off adjustments. But no, the majority of this is mid-level, and lower, more than likely lower, all lower than that for compression. It was 94 employees. 117 were brought to minimum, will be brought to minimum with your approval. 94 first go round with department heads. 94 we need to address with compression. Majority of that through our larger departments, obviously, public works, fire. So, and the majority of that can be covered out of that 383. We only need about 170,000 out of the 250 you set aside. So. Just some numbers.
I mean, I'm okay with that. I want you to put it together, and I want to look at it first.
And just so you know, like, I'm here on an interim basis. You know what I'm saying? Like, this should be done by a full-time administrator once that's selected. I'm not recommending that tomorrow I go out and sign a bunch of compression, raises or one-off raises for people. That needs to be done a little bit later once.
I think you can bring back, I'm glad you said that, because it could be construed by some that, look at this guy, the interim, he went around and gave everybody pay raises right before he got booted out or got the job, whatever. So yeah, I think you're right. I think you bring all those proposed back to us, and then when we go through the hiring of the process of hiring a new county administrator, the county administrator gets that job, should have to make that decision and stand for it, or approve it or deny it, or make a different recommendation.
Correct.
Mr. Klepper, it clearly states, I'm going to give you some leniency here because I said I was going to do better.
I know what it says.
I'm going to give you 1 minute. It says one trip per person. I'm going to give you 1 minute.
I appreciate it. I went down a rabbit hole, and I didn't say this very important part. I've worked at some very successful companies in private sector. But what they did, they determined X amount by the payroll of what each department was going to receive in pay increases, all right? And they pure merit, all right? There was no cost of living was included in it. And so what they did is by merit, nobody's listening to me. One's listening to me. I hear you.
By merit, you
said. To me, all right?
You said by merit.
By merit. You put it all in a pot. There ain't no more cost of living. If you got, we all know that any operation has the loafers in there. It would motivate if it was a merit-based salary increases, the pure merit base, eliminate the cost of living, include that in the pool, and go by department. Each department would have X amount of money based on their payroll to distribute, and they could distribute that fairly amongst the ones that earned it. Thank you.
Anything else, guys? You need anything else from us on that agenda item?
No, I think we have clear direction.
Okay. So we're done with item, whatever that number is, 11. Additional agenda items? None? None that I'm aware of? None? County administrator's comments?
I'll be brief.
Interim.
Interim, thank you.
Administrator.
Shit, that's already getting the boot, I heard. Thank you for the pay in class. I think that's important to the employees, and I think they understand that. So just let me thank you for that. Just real quick, Friday, staff will be going down to Congresswoman Kamek's office in Gainesville for a meeting with her staff. Next week, our D.C. Lobbying team will be down from D.C. to tour the county and talk about projects. And then I think in a couple of weeks, we're looking at the first week in November, we'll be in Tallahassee with our state lobbyist, with Mr. Grissom, and hopefully with some meetings with the senator and the representative over there, maybe some committee meetings. So anything that you have comments, projects, anything you want us to pass on, please let us know.
Tell them get back to work.
Yeah, they were supposed to come this week, the DC team, and they actually stayed back because there was a lot going on now. So
Isn't it shut down?
maybe something's happening. They're shut down, but they're working on it behind the scenes. A reminder, the IFAS has their 75th celebration Thursday at 4 o'clock. I believe everybody's been invited, so if you can make that out there for their event.
When was that, Jason?
It's this Thursday at 4, I believe. Yep.
Please, and I will not be able to attend, so please, on my behalf.
We will pass that on.
I doubt that I make that as well.
Okay.
Probably be on the combat.
Planning council meeting.
Okay, yeah. Franklin and Mr. Mobley, Mr. White, Mr. Mobley can attend for us.
Probably come and leave.
What time, Jason?
No, it starts at 4.
And I got custodian.
You're a busy man.
Mobley needs to show up and carry the weight this time.
Come on.
The staff's been meeting with, talking about GIS and IT needs, and the clerk's been very gracious with his staff and IT, but we're going to have to, some of the IT budget we used to have, we're going to have to start kicking in and get some equipment. Servers are down, or they're aging out, and so there's some infrastructure that we need to invest in. So anyway, working along with Ms. Vicky and her staff to try to get us up to the 21st century, and talking about the GIS position and how consultants can help us with that, with some mapping and data, and helping fire and the parks and other departments with GIS needs. So we'll bring that back to you, at some point, but those meetings are going on. I was going to mention the rodeo Friday and Saturday. If anybody had the pleasure of seeing me in my boots and cowboy hat Friday, glad I was able to thank you, Jimmy. Appreciate that. But no, Parks and Rec put a great rodeo on Friday and Saturday night, if you had a chance to get out there. VSO position, the Veteran Service Officer, we've had, I think, 10 or 12 applications, so we will start interviewing those folks and getting that position filled back up here in the near future. Cell tower lease, we need to look at, just going to remind you about the cell tower lease, we need to bring that back up. And just some quick project updates. 169th, the railroad crossing is completed, and DOT, that was a DOT, well, it was an appropriation run through DOT as a grant, but we'll be getting reimbursement for that. That's completed, appreciate that. 68th Street has started. COVID building, we're getting permits through the city. That should start in November. Wastewater treatment plant, there's Mr. Hancock. We're working on it. We're working on it, Mr. Bowe. I'm still going to win the bet, but we have had some hiccups. We are getting an amendment to not extend the deadline, but to change some of the deliverables in the grant for the very earliest grant that was due through Commerce, the ARPA funds. So we don't have to complete the project as soon as we thought. We just have to spend that grant down by this summer, which we will be able to do. We're in negotiations with the firm that won the bid on the project. We're still not there yet on a price. It's potentially, we may have to rebid that project, reject the bids, and go out to rebid. We don't know yet, and if we do, then more than likely I'll have to request a special called meeting. So I'll get with the chairman and you guys on that as we proceed. But we're moving forward. We're going to make it. Mr. Bowe, Mr. Bowe owes me some ice cream if we get this project completed. Let's see what else. We're working on the shelter, the Project Summit shelter. We're moving forward with our engineers there. The multi-purpose community facilities, Brantford, Douglas Center, John Hale Park has been demolished. If you go by there, the old rec center is no longer standing. And we will rebuild a new $1 million facility in its place, but those are about ready to start. We should start around the 1st of December. We're working with the design engineer and the permitting. Currently, the cultural center at the Douglas Center as well. Douglas Center gym and HVAC is out to bid now. It closes November 10th, so we will be starting construction on that here pretty quick. And I think that's all my updates in a quick wrap. If you have any questions about any of those, I'll be glad to answer, but that's all I had.
Any questions for Mr. Ferry?
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Perkins.
The red brick, that was at the John Hale Park. What do you do those?
I believe we saved some of that. Mr. Rosner may can speak to that, the bricks at John Hale Park, but.
Yes, sir. Staff is on site today to collect as much of the salvageable brick as possible. Okay.
So we use it on the new building.
So they'll collect as much as they can. Yeah, you're not going to be able to build the whole building with it, but display purposes or some sort of monument or memorial or something, I think we could use with those old bricks. Yeah, an accent wall, something like that, yeah.
That'd be good.
I think.
Very good. Anything else from Mr. Furry, guys? All right. Next item on the agenda, board members' inquiries, requests, and comments. Perkins. Perkins. I started down here last time.
Okay.
I think I started with White and it worked out.
Yeah, you did.
I'll start with you then.
Yeah.
Started with me last time.
No, White. Commissioner White.
Whatever.
Thank
y'all for coming. I'll do it for you. Thank y'all for coming.
We do appreciate it. I thank for the support of our team that get these things, our projects, getting them going, and seeing some things happening that really bring a lot to a lot of the people that's out there to see that building being taken down, and also at Alden, that's at the park over there at John Hill Park, met with some of those people that they're going to do some things there, so that's great. Just grateful, and thankful for the little event there with the city and county. That was great there. The chamber and others put that together. It was great there. Thank you, man. It reminded me. Everybody have a safe trip home.
Commissioner, have a safe trip home. Appreciate y'all coming.
That took a lot of thought.
And don't forget about Miss. And don't forget about Miss Hines. Miss Hines is gonna have some cake and stuff out there for us, and probably some old-fashioned cane syrup. She's talking.
All right. Commissioner Hale.
Thank you, sir. A couple things. First of all, Ms. Vicki out there, thank you for fixing my phone and my computer. Thank you, Mandy, for picking it up and bringing it to me this evening. I appreciate that.
Oh, look at there.
Also appreciate Jason and I think Gamble was there. Who else was out there with us on 76th Street? Miss Brenda was there. We had a good group on Mitchell Road. We met out there this week. I know there's been some concerns from the community there. They're all being addressed, and they're being addressed because of this great staff we have and the work they put in, and they're absolutely going to help me and help you see this thing through. The other thing I'd mention is the Harrell and Robertson family. Definitely want you guys to keep them in your prayers. They've had a rough 2 years and some very unexpected losses, and we just want to lift them up and pray for all of them.
26 months ago, that was a family of four, two young 20-year-old boys and a husband and wife, and 26 months later, they're without a son, brother, and a wife/mother. So a family of fours went to two in 26 months, and age 58, and I don't know how old the son is, Dylan. He's in his mid-20s.
Yeah.
So count your blessings, people.
Yes.
Here today and gone tomorrow. It's sad.
It's very sad. Commissioner White.
I just want to welcome Mr. Kevin Knightons from the town of Brantford. Town council is here tonight, so I want to acknowledge that. I just want to say thank you to all the county staff and employees, and with this wage thing, that was what I was focused on, was the lower paid that we have in the county, and to try to bring them up. So I'm happy to see that, and glad we've accomplished that now. And I'd just like to thank y'all for all your hard work. You know, everybody that works in the county.
Yes.
Anytime you ask anybody for something, they jump right on it. Lord, if Mandy and Carissa wasn't around, I wouldn't be at half the stuff I'm supposed to be at. So I just, just a great bunch to work with, and we appreciate what you do. Thank you.
You couldn't have said it better. I think every commissioner up here would echo those same sentiments. I mean, they make us look good and keep us on track. But
exactly.
Without the employees in any organization, but especially Suwannee County employees, are the backbone of what happens. Couple things, board. Obviously, thank y'all for I don't have to thank you. You'd have done it without me. But the Donnell Gwynn proclamation. That's. I know Miss Gwynn's not here, but that'll be definitely a patriarch of Hamilton or Suwannee County. If I said Hamilton, and then one of y'all already said it, but Saturday, November 22nd, Miss Pat Hines at 13158 116th Street. So that y'all know, her Southern Heritage Historical Farm was the first African-American Century Pioneer family farm owner in the state of Florida, as well as the first African-American family designated and certified by the Florida State Genealogical Society as pioneer builders. So pretty big deal there. I think the lunch will be provided as well as some refreshments on that is a Saturday, November 22nd at 10 a.m. So it should be fairly cool, 10 in the morning, so we won't be miserable. But if y'all can make it out to that, I think you're open to whoever would like to come, right, Miss Pat?
Yes, and we have a museum available with artifacts that we've got on the farm out here.
Awesome. Good deal. And then I think that's it. You mentioned the Harold and Robertson family, and anyway, I appreciate all y'all. No, we're not talking about that. Where's mine at? Go ahead, Perkins.
I just want to, before we adjourn the meeting, I know where Dawn is at, I know where myself is at. So can we get the rest of y'all?
I don't think I'm in that picture, Perkins.
I don't even know where mine went.
Somehow he worked himself into another picture, guys.
Did y'all get to see that?
So, hey,
where is that?
Mr. Chair, we can just ask Mandy and Lowe to help us out with it. They can name them.
It looks like you got a weave in there.
Mandy, I think you should put that in the fact registry.
I think somebody took mine.
Motion to adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn by Commissioner Hale, second by Commissioner White. All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. 5-0.
So moved.